and welcome to You Write, a podcast where creativity meets community.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
Each week on You Write, we challenge our listeners to write a story in just 30 minutes, using 3 of 5 randomly generated words.
It's a fun and fast-paced exercise to spark your imagination and get those creative juices flowing.
We'll read your submissions, offer feedback, and discuss the unique twists and turns of each story.
Whether you're an aspiring author or just love a good tale, You Write is your place to explore the endless possibilities of storytelling.
So grab your car, drive to the beach, get comfy, and drive around, making letters shapes with your car and write a story like that. And let's dive into this week's stories.
And remember, the only limit is your imagination and 30 minutes.
Yes.
Let's see what you got.
Yes.
So it's like, is that like ground writing? Like, there's sky writing with airplanes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's like ground writing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Huh.
That's exactly what it is.
Huh.
It's ground writing. How are you?
Good.
Did you miss us?
Yes. I would much rather have been doing this than what I was doing.
Really?
Let's put it that way. Yeah. It was a work trip.
Well, yeah, but wasn't it, where were you again?
Austin.
Oh, and you didn't do anything fun there?
Not terribly.
No? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had some decent enough food, I guess, but that was about it.
What's the best food you had?
I had some pretty amazing Thai food, actually. Some duck curry. It was amazing.
Where?
It was called, oddly enough, a place called Mai Tai.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
But yeah, is primarily a work. I say primarily. It was exclusively a work trip. So basically, I get back to the hotel and I'm just like tired because I've been doing work stuff all day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was all lonely by myself, and it's just so sad.
That is upsetting.
It's okay.
All by yourself. Don't wanna be all by yourself.
Yep.
Anymore.
That's the song that just kept playing in my head the whole time.
That's sad. Well, it's over now.
It is over now.
So.
And the night that I was flying back, because my flight didn't leave until it was like 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a long flight, but that was exactly the moment that we were under a tornado here in Lubbock. So yeah, our boarding time just getting pushed back 5 minutes, and then 5 more minutes, then 5 more minutes. So I was just sitting in the airport, just watching helplessly all the news of this tornado. Meanwhile, Kim's texting. He's like, the tornado sirens are going off. Like, I'm going to get our friend's daughter, and then she's like, we're sheltering in the bathroom, and I was just like, oh, it was horrifying.
That's horrifying to be on an airplane during that.
No, I wasn't on an airplane. I was in the airport while it was all going down. Like the plane never left until all that was well and done.
Oh, it was already over. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. But it's horrifying just being that helpless. Like I have no agency.
There's
like,
nothing you can do.
I would have rather been here during a tornado than in an airport watching this tornado go down, if that makes sense.
Right. No, that does. So you would have rather been protecting your peeps.
Yeah. Have any amount of control over any aspect of what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds, frustrating.
It was stressful and frustrating. Yeah. But I just posted up at the airport bar and was just like sitting there with my head in my hands, just like, oh no.
Yes.
Oh, the worst.
Did you get drunk?
I had a beer, but.
Oh, okay.
So,
I love getting drunk at airport bars.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's like one of my favorite pastimes.
You just strike up conversations with strangers?
Oh,
of course. Duh.
Bro.
Why else would I be there?
I could tell you some of the craziest stories from interactions with strangers that have started in bars, airport bars.
Airport bars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is a pretty wide variety of people at an airport bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember sitting at one in Chicago, also for a work trip. And, oh, man, it's just fun for, like, people watching. And just seeing the way people, I don't know, it's wild.
It's fantastic. I
all
love
walks of
it.
life in an airport bar.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's wonderful.
Did you see a lot of our stories?
Yes, I did.
Well, actually, how are you?
Me?
Yes. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, I'm good. Living the dream.
The literal dream.
The literal one.
Yeah.
I'm literally asleep right now. Yeah. I have stories, but I've already told them so many times that I'm tired of honestly hearing them. So.
You're tired of hearing your own stories?
Yes.
What?
Yep.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah. This happens sometimes.
Does it?
Yep. Because I tell so many people the same story that after a while I'm just like,
I'm not telling it again.
I'm going to shoot myself if I have to hear that story one more time out of my own mouth.
My God. Okay. Yeah. Don't tell me then.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
Well, no, I've already told you yesterday.
Oh. Yeah. I know the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could understand why you wouldn't want to continue repeating that story.
Right.
Because it's just so upsetting.
Eh.
Well, I mean, it's not really upsetting. Actually, you came out pretty shiny in that story.
I did. It's just intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, here we are now.
Leave all of our listeners in suspense. Yeah.
Let me just say that it has to do with an anesthesiologist from a Western European country. And strong words were exchanged. That's all.
That just sounds like a setup for a joke or something.
An anesthesiologist walks into a bar.
Yeah, an anesthesiologist from a Western European country walked into a bar.
Right. A Swede, a Norwegian, and a German all walked into a bar.
And were they all anesthesiologists?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know any anesthesia jokes.
Okay, well, me neither. Actually.
We'll contemplate that.
Come to find out, yes. Okay, so who are we going to read?
This week, we are reading Became the Gray by Jake.
Yes.
Something you're going to have to understand about me. Where I grew up, Sunday school was the same school you went to every other day of the week. Same teacher, too. Pastor Sampson. He was a mighty man, broad-shouldered and stone-faced, always willing to strike the fear of God into someone if they needed it, or offer them aid and succor in times of want. I thought he was a good man, and a good pastor. I still don't know if I was right about that. He still did a half-decent job of teaching the kids in town a bit before they got old enough to go to one of the high schools nearby. Most of it was the basics of reading and writing and arithmetic, but with the Holy Father sprinkled in for good measure. My family had no TV, no radio, no amenities of any kind. We had our hymnals for music, and we had our Bible for reading, and that was our entertainment. Considering the dull upbringing, it isn't surprising to find out that, when I came of age, I had the choice between farm life or the clergy. I chose to take up with Pastor Sampson, as he was getting along in years, and I figured that meant I could be the next in line to be the pastor when he passed. It was not easy. Pastor Sampson took as much pride in the development of his successor as he did in his own ability. He spent my first few weeks showing me every responsibility he had, and by transfer I would have. There were funerary rites, weddings, mass, teaching schedules, lesson planning, youth school planning, general upkeep with the church. The list goes on and on. Through all of these duties, I was to perform to my utmost standards and hope to the Father above that my standards were good enough for Pastor Sampson. He managed to stay as iron-willed as ever deep into his old age. His heavy brow and pained walking did nothing to slow his wit or his steadfast belief. Only one responsibility was left out of my purview. I will never forget the night that I was finally recruited for this task, and it is on this night that my confession here finds purpose. That was the night that I became the Gray. I was 32 and thoroughly convinced that old man Sampson would never die. He still moved with vim and vigor, no matter how pained, and he had not let me fully take on his duties to the church. Behind the church was a small shed that I was not allowed into. A simple thing, white wooden walls and a black roof, complete with a small spire to indicate some connection to the church. It was very well built, had no windows, and stayed in pristine condition throughout the entire time I'd seen it. The door remained locked at all times, except for the trips that Pastor Sampson would take into it once every few days. When I asked, he said that this was the final duty that I would need to learn, but that I wasn't ready to learn it yet. Then, right as I was saying my evening prayers in my small, ordered room by the Abbey, Pastor Sampson burst into my room, fiddling with the white collar of his uniform. On his sweat-sheened face, he bore an expression of pain and fear that I had never seen the statue of a man show. "Come now, Stephen. It's time to show you your final duty," he trembled to me. In the state of shock I was in at how nervous he seemed, I followed his direction without question and followed him down the stairs to the back door. The slow process of going down was littered with mumbles and grumbles from Samson, most of which seemed to involve running out of time. Finally, we managed our way to the shed door, his steps growing weaker and slower as we went. He took, from around his neck, a small chain with a key threaded onto it. He labored with the latch, and then with effort handed it to me. "Open it, boy. We don't have much time." I did as I was told, eager and afraid to be given the final piece of knowledge that had been kept from me about my position, terrified for my friend and mentor, unaware of what lay ahead of me in that shed. The walls were bare wood and covered from top to bottom in noise-canceling foam. The floor was padded rubber, and there was no furniture except for a small table in the center of the room with a round stone basin set upon it. As I walked in, Pastor Sampson rushed past me in a final bit of strength and collapsed, only staying standing by gripping the basin and resting his head on it. "Stephen, come closer and look in. It's going to shock you, so be ready." My body tingled and told me to run. Every fiber of my being was sending my nervous system signals to flee, but my curiosity and dedication to my teacher took over. I stepped close enough to see what was in the basin, immediately regretting that I did so. What lay in there was what I can only describe as a mass of flesh, all purple, with veins of gray and patches of dark black hair. It squirmed and shrieked, and the sound that its skin made on the stone of the basin was like that of chalk on a chalkboard. "This is God," said Pastor Sampson weakly, "or as close to it as you're ever going to see it on this earth. The line of pastors at this church have been feeding it for centuries, and it has blessed our town with peace and safety." My mind was bouncing between worlds, one where this sort of thing didn't exist, and the reality of being in one where this thing did exist. "It told me a few minutes ago that I'm going to be dead soon. I had a heart attack as I ran upstairs to get you, and I'm going to die from that before long." He reached down and opened a drawer under the table, pulling from within it a small dagger. "I want you to kill me, slit my throat, and feed me to God. Then offer your own sacrament. Become the next Gray. Keep your flock safe." And he held the knife out to me. The next thing that I remember from that night is standing before the basin with Pastor Sampson's dead body on the floor next to me, trickles of blood still draining from his throat. That was not the most unusual part, though. My left sleeve was rolled up, and a string of flesh from within the basin was attached to my forearm, suckling softly. I let it continue until it seemed satisfied. To be honest, I'd never felt as good as I did after that first feeding. It put within me some form of vitality that I hadn't known was possible. It wasn't until a few days later that the gray hairs started to appear in my normally black hair, and the gray splotches of skin on my abdomen. Sometimes, in the dark, I'm almost convinced that they're spelling something.
Damn.
Damn.
First of all, excellent reading. I love how you did the pastor's voice.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that was really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I literally make them up on the spot when I arrive at them, so glad it worked.
That was excellent. It's really funny because as you were reading, I remembered because I read this story yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were reading, I remembered that I had a dream about this last night.
Really?
Yes, I had a dream that the string of flesh,
Ugh.
which in my mind and also in my dream was kind of like a jellyfish tentacle, was like stuck to me, and like it was nasty in my dream, and I was just like, "Oh, get off!
Get it off! Cut it off! Cut it off!
Yeah,
kill it!"
yeah. So yeah, that apparently made an impression on me because it showed up in my dream.
Yeah.
This was so good. I loved this.
Yes, agree.
Gripping, actually. And I have many, many thoughts, but what are your thoughts?
Basically the same. Very gripping.
Mm-hmm.
Generally with stories, if I've come across something that I feel like I need to like comment on in the show, I will usually make comments, but usually the stories that really capture me, like there's no comments on the side because I'm just invested
in what
I'm reading here.
Totally.
And I have 3 total comments, one of which is at the very end of the story. But yes, this is very unsettling story.
Yeah.
And it doesn't set up that way. It sets up very wholesome, very down to earth, very grounded.
Well, yeah, but there is foreshadowing at the beginning whenever he says the pastor was a good man, but I'm not sure about that or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was right about that. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, what's about to happen?
Yeah.
So, man, so many things. First of all, this entity is disgusting. I feel like it acts kind of like, well, my first thought was like a vampire.
Yeah.
Because it like feeds off of people to get its energy. It doesn't seem like it's thriving because it's writhing and shrieking, apparently.
Yeah.
And it lives in a basin by itself. Like,
locked away in a soundproof room. It almost seems like that's as much a prison as it is a home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, does it want to be there? You know? And another question is, okay, the pastor, isn't that what he's called? The pastor?
Pastor Samson, yeah.
Pastor Samson. Pastor Samson is like, it has been protecting the community or whatever. But here's my question. How do you know? What if that thing wasn't there and the community continued to be the same as it is?
Yeah, and Pastor Samson dies before we get any further information about what this thing is or how it could have helped and protect the flock and everything else.
Yeah.
And at the end of this, I think my thoughts were, I'm still not sure that this is what Samson said it was, or that
God.
Samson even thought that it was God.
Yeah.
Actually, it feels like they're like a protective order, like we've got to keep this thing away from everyone else, and so the only way to do that is to offer your own sacrament to it, or something like. See, and I was so torn between how to read what this thing was and what the pastor's purpose was in dealing with it.
Yeah. And also though, but it's also apparently doing something, because after feeding it, then the new gray is like, I felt this vitality that I never felt possible.
Yeah.
And at that moment I was like, oh, actually that sounds kind of great. But it reminded me of how, you know, how people are like, they just got attacked by a vampire and they're just like, I feel amazing or something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like a glamour kind of.
Yeah. Or it somehow has shared its powers somehow.
Yeah.
Past them to its host.
Yeah. What it reminded me of was actually Venom from Spider-Man. So the way it will like, the way it latches on, and it's kind of like,
ew,
like almost like fluid nature to it, and it's covered in hair. Blah.
Ew,
Blah.
gross,
nasty.
Yeah, but you know, it also kind of reminds me of a fetus.
Yeah,
you know, because a fetus is like a kind of a blob, and it feeds on you. It's like a parasite.
Yeah,
and the string of flesh is like the umbilical cord. You know. Yeah. But I just want to know.
Interesting. Maybe like a celestial fetus.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to know, how did they get this blob? Where did it come from?
Where did it go?
Where did it go? Where does it come from? Where does it go? Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe. There's the punchline.
Cotton Eye. I don't remember the words next to Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah. And so also, is it, why is it doing, let's say that it is, some powerful entity.
Yeah.
And it is there by choice. Why? Because it don't seem happy.
Well, yeah. And considering what it is, I don't even know that we could recognize if it was happy in the first place.
Right. But the description of its behavior, squirming and shrieking.
Maybe that's its happy dance.
Maybe.
It's going, yay, new guy.
Yeah.
It's squealing in delight.
Yeah.
Maybe it is happy.
Maybe.
Tough to say.
And I wonder, is it even in there whenever they're not in there? Or does it like kind of leave and then come back when somebody else comes back? Like, does it go dormant? Kind of.
It just phases into another dimension or something until somebody shows up. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, just the way that the building was described as built very well.
Yeah.
Like it's a very sturdy, stable building covered in sound proofing and like a rubber floor and everything. Like there's been a lot of attention to the soundness of the structure, both literally and figuratively, I guess.
No, totally. But if it is like a supernatural entity, then I don't think it would be confined by such things,
Yeah,
necessarily.
Again, we're just teased with what it is. So
we are. Yeah. And also this town, it doesn't sound super awesome. It sounds pretty boring and lame.
Yeah.
And so what is this blob providing?
Yeah. And how is it offering protection? Because that's kind of what we glean from Pastor Samson before we move on, before we jump forward in time to him not even recollecting, just standing over him.
Right. Like maybe it's just that like maybe nobody in that community has ever gotten sick or died prematurely or something like that. Like it has to be offering something for them to be like protecting it to this level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This kind of feels like a chapter 1 to something larger.
Yeah.
And on that note, I would say that, well, obviously there's a lot more to be said about this story and this thing, whatever it is.
This item.
Yeah. And so generally I'm not a fan of prologues in stories. Like if you're going to start a story, just start in chapter 1 and just run with it.
Yeah.
This might be one of the few exceptions that you could use, kind of what you've done here with teasing what this monster is or this god is in a prologue. You can kind of use that as a bit of a teaser for everything. But that's just me shooting from the hip. Pow, pow.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, this certainly has places to go, and it is horribly upsetting or unsettling.
Unsettling, yes.
Yeah. And do you think that there's more to the use of the word gray than just the fact he has gray hair, his skin is turning gray?
I don't know, but it reminded me of Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah.
Going from his transition. Wait, which one was he first?
Gray.
He was gray. Going from gray to white.
Yeah.
I don't know though. And I'm curious about what is it spelling,
Yeah. See, I was kind of thinking, because I was torn at the end of how to interpret what they were doing with this thing, it felt like it was a gray area. Like it is good and bad. Or it could be good, it could be bad. We're not sure. But that was the best I could come up with. But I was trying to figure out if there was any deeper significance to calling them gray. Yeah. I like Gandalf the Grey. This is how wizards are made.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Pastors are basically wizards, right?
Well, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I want to know, is this thing actually good or is it evil? Because the fact that Pastor Samson and apparently all of his predecessors have been keeping it this huge secret makes me think that there's something ominous about it.
Or maybe they just realized that it would just be misunderstood in the public. I don't know. I'm just trying just trying it on.
I would stomp on it.
It
If I saw
the way it's described, it sounds very stompable. Yeah.
But actually, I'm joking. I wouldn't stomp on it, but
Just flee
I would just flee.
and then nuke it from orbit, just to be sure.
I would feel guilty stomping on it because I would be able to tell that it was alive.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I would run.
Yeah.
I would run from it.
Mhm.
I'll probably like throw a blanket over it and then run or something.
You look cold. I'm running now.
Yeah. Here you go. Warm up. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. But very interesting. And I really hope that there's going to be some more on this because I want to read more of this.
It's clearly had an impact on Rachel.
It has.
She's dreamt of it once already.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first night after I read it, who knows? I might dream about it again tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And tonight it's going to be your friends?
Maybe. That'd be cute.
It's like a gelatinous Furby.
Oh, well, it does have hair.
It does have hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could like take it on a walk,
Uh-huh.
put it in a harness.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, what else you got for Jake?
I loved this. I was very enmeshed in this, so I want to hear more.
Yes, same.
I
Yeah.
want Mo.
Give us Mo.
We want some Mo. We want some Mo.
All right, and up next, we have Matt's Guide to Success in Life, Option 1, Being a Throuple. By
That's
Walker
right.
by Faith.
That's right. This was brilliant. I loved this. I laughed so much. Somebody said, I think that I might like this even better than the Guide to Suicide Success. And I agree. Like already out of the gate, you're coming on strong with that satire, and I am loving it.
It's very strong.
It's very strong.
This is a very strong entry. This is one of the ones that your story is just riddled with notes over here on the side from
Mhm.
me, because it just seems like everything is worth talking about. Like
Mhm.
there's so much in every paragraph that just has little tidbits tucked away in there that feel like they're worthy of discussion. So
Yeah.
this is dense with satire, and I love it.
Yeah, it's rife with satire.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. I laughed hard and often.
Yes. So the first note that I have here is, right out of the gate. My first note is, how did this guy convince one person to marry him? To which I say, I ask myself this all the time.
Yeah.
It's like I often wonder, is like, how did
this
I
happen?
get to this point?
Yeah.
Like, how did I ever arrive?
Yeah, that was a great jab
Mhm.
right out of the gate. I loved that.
Yeah, and just the way that's already doing work towards, because we're doing a lot like what Rachel's Guide was doing, and that we're coloring the author.
Yes.
Like so much of what is being said here is just color for the author.
Right.
And this just straight out of the gate is doing a lot of work to do just that. And
Yeah.
I love that.
I love the beginning of the next paragraph where it's like, let's start with the basics. Since I am aware that many of you are at intellectual levels below my own. As you may have never known had I not told you just now, a relationship of this sort is actually a polyfidelitous triadic unit.
Yeah, the basics. Let's start at the basics.
Yes.
Polyfidelitous triadic unit.
Yes.
Needlessly complicated and wordy, and I love it.
I love it too. I like all the breakdowns. A throuple is a portmanteau of three and couple. It's like you go into so much detail to like explain every single thing because you know the intellectual inferiority of your audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you do not go to any lengths to describe or to define portmanteau.
Yeah.
And the definition that we get for polyfidelitous triadic unit.
Yeah.
The only way to understand that as a layman is to read a throuple is a portmanteau of three and couple. A three and couple, a linguistic Frankenstein's monster straight from the polyamorous corner of Tumblr and into your HR diversity training between themsies and thumping. Like, it's so convoluted and broken. Like to say that this is breaking it down for somebody is a horrible
for the
disservice.
layman. Yeah, it's hilarious. But also, I could have sworn that whenever I first read it, it said, and into your HR diversity training.
Oh, it did.
Did you change that?
I did.
I thought it was intentional.
Was that intentional?
I have no idea. Walker, was that intentional? Because I thought it was like the diversity training is like so like next level that it's training for the training. You have to get trained to attend to the training.
Yeah, it's inception of training. Yeah.
It's like so post diversity training that it's like
you must be trained in order to go to the training. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, that's hilarious.
I'll be fascinated if that's
Tell us,
true.
Walker.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? We want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Themsies and thumping. Like,
honestly, I looked up thumping in Urban Dictionary and couldn't find it.
I don't know what that is. I've got nothing on that.
I'm like, do you mean thrumping? Because that's a thing. Or do you mean thumping?
Because that's a thing.
That's also a thing.
This is the evolution of both.
Yes, thumping. Okay. Oh yeah. That part about spreadsheet labeled. I loved this because I do this all the time with my documents that I save. I'm like, this is the final. Oh wait, no, this is the final. And I'm like, actual final for real. Like naming them all stuff like that. It's like final. Matt's copy with Kim's notes. Final, like final
yes. hyphen Matt's copy hyphen with Kim's notes.xlsx. And yes, of course you do skip the apostrophe because it breaks the naming or the file structure, and you can't put apostrophes in there because it's a special character. Because
that was a really, really clever sentence. By the way,
I adored that inclusion. And for what it's worth, Matt, not the author, speaking here. I actually do have a scheme for labeling files, and it's come from years of shit like this.
Yeah.
To the point that every file that I save, I add revision 0 for the first one, and then it's revision 1, revision 2, revision 3. Wow. I never assume I'm done with a file.
Yeah.
I just cycle up through revisions on every file.
Smart.
Yeah.
I still assume that I'm done and write final, and then I have to go back and write final in all caps, and then have to go back and write final for real. Yeah.
I have documents that are into revisions in the hundreds.
Dadgum.
Yeah, it's documents that need regular updates, so it just makes sense.
But nice.
This sentence right here, something that sounded like a rejected Pokemon.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's sad.
Yeah, thruple.
I like where it's like, it kind of does. I like where it's like, in a thruple, you don't just have one partner to disappoint, you now have two. And somehow you're expected to learn all their attachment styles, safe words, love languages, and green or milk tea preferences without becoming a walking panic attack.
Yes. And it's exactly right too, because people are very different, and now you've got to master two people.
Yeah, exactly. Equally. So that they don't feel like one is put above the other.
Yeah, one can't feel excluded.
Exactly.
Yeah, which of course we will dive into that later.
Yes, I love how it's like, if that good news outweighs the bad, you selfish bastard. I love that part.
Yeah. And what's funny is it seems like the author is speaking out of experience here.
Oh, yeah. It kind of does.
So is that kind of coloring the author as a selfish bastard as well? Or maybe the author was roped into this? Unclear. Unclear.
I don't know. You tell us, Matt. You're the author.
I'll think about it.
Okay. And then, of course, he brought in your, profession here.
Oh, yeah. A guy who twists live wires together for a living. My note on that is never live. Always dead circuits. I never touch an open circuit, or I never touch a live circuit.
Smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes back later, and I type in again, never live circuits. Never. That's like a core rule of mine. Yeah, I am such a safety-oriented person because, like, the first year to 18 months on the job, I was always hurting myself. Always
like
hurting
electrocuting
myself.
Yourself?
No, my job isn't high voltage. I work in low voltage.
Well, I electrocuted myself at Starbucks once on low voltage. Like, I didn't die, but...
Yeah. So normally I'm not working with high voltage, but just the same, I'm working on like job sites with tools and sharp things. And,
True.
I can remember a time that I cut like a 2-inch gash open in my ankle from dropping something on it. Yeah. That was, I think, the point whenever I learned I need to be safe about everything.
Yeah.
And from then on, like, I really never really hurt myself after that. But
nice.
So yeah, never live wires.
Gotcha.
And then we move on to in-text guide. This is the section for the clinically dull. Basically, I said that people have been doing this FMM and FFM crap a long time.
Well, it could also be FFF or MMM.
Yes. Yeah. That's actually exactly what I wanted to bring up is we're excluding 2 other very likely options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or BBB and BBB. Or, I'm sorry, NB, NB, NB,
Yes. So basically, to Rachel's point here, you can make this just as satirical as the rest of it, just by listing out as all the potential options that it could be. Yeah.
FMM, FFM, FFF, MMM, FNB, NB. Well, the options are kind of endless when you add in a third one, but.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets nuts in a hurry.
It gets nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then this part about like, you got to compartmentalize your feelings while watching your partners cuddle without you.
That's so good. This whole paragraph I thought was pretty great. The emotional damage will come in handy when you need to compartmentalize your feelings. But don't worry, it's nothing so banal as jealousy. It's polygrowth and development.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm growing and developing right now. Now that you have failed at monogamy, you are ready for the next level of emotional evolution with a more emotionally evolved partner.
Yeah, that is perfect because...
Oh, and then he describes you. Someone who wears oversized cardigans, uses words like polyfidelitis, has a massive and full beard, and handles live wires without missing a beat.
Never live.
Never live.
Never live.
Dead. Only dead.
When your abundant love grows to include longtime roommate Bobby, you are in.
Oh, yeah.
Casually, your emotionally evolved partner will suggest formalizing the relationship between the 3 of you. Remember, Bobby? When you agree, as you will, you are now on the road to ethical, moral, and emotional chaos.
Well done.
Well done.
Yes.
So that chaos snuck up on me. Like, because it just seems like, oh, we're arriving at the happy place. It's like you're in. You're an emotionally evolved partner, formalizing relationships. It's like when you agree, it's like you're on this road, ethical, moral, emotional chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just out of the blue. Like, I don't know how you managed to make that word sneak up on me, but you did a great job.
But I love the next sentence where it's like, next you will want to start a group chat, then immediately regret it as the conversation includes you less and less until you are relegated to simply hearting their messages to let them know you are still there.
That made me irrationally sad. Like,
really?
Yes, I was reading that. I was like, oh, that is so sad. That is so sad.
That made me think about times where things like that have happened to me, and I thought it was hilarious because that's like so real.
Yeah.
Spot on.
And in that same paragraph, we get, you will enjoy the pleasure of reassuring all your pre-friends that you are fine and seeing the shocked look of complete confusion. So I just like that pre-friends. Reminds me of the unloved ones. Yeah. That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, no, it is. I think that is what that's supposed to like harken back to.
Yeah. You all disappoint one another equally.
Equally.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is where I think that this guide, or at least this entry to this guide, is really it's surpassing what Rachel's guide was doing. Like, that is hilarious and bleak.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so bleak. Like, just to look at like love this way.
Yeah.
In this kind of quid pro quo and manipulative, like we haven't quite got to the manipulation side of what the guide has to offer, but it just spirals into this horrible dark place. Yeah. And it's love between 3 people. Yeah. Like, it could easily be a very positive message, but it just gets off the rails.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I like how the final step to becoming a throuple is tell your mom. That's like what seals the deal. Boom, you were in a throuple. That's so true. Because once you like inform someone of it, then that like makes it official.
Yeah,
you know,
and the fact that it's mom, which I actually kind of struggled with that. I was like, why mom? But then I was like, that for a guide like this, yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, and plus because I feel like you would be like hanging out with those two people and feel the need to explain it or something.
Or
like,
it comes up like, why are you always with both of them?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, over dinner, and she just like mom manages to wring it out of you.
Tell me what's going on.
What? I don't understand.
The guacamole thing was hilarious.
Amazing. Love that.
Not the good kind. The kind they bring from the walk-in cooler.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah, and we get kind of what I was mentioning before. Success comes from weaponizing your skills. This manipulating others in this relationship just so that you can maintain your level of, I guess, usefulness to the point that you are indispensable.
Yeah.
Again, just so bleak.
Use it.
Yeah.
Use
it.
Whatever your skill is, just use it.
Also, are you the one who keeps the baby oil locked in the bureau?
Use it. Use it. What are you bringing to the table? Figure out what you can bring to the table.
Apparently a bureau with a locked bureau with baby oil.
Like you're the one who basically like had the bureau that you moved into the house and you have the keys too. So you're
which for whatever reason has a lock on it.
Right.
Yeah. With baby oil.
Yeah. Sorry, this is where we store it. Can't get rid of me.
Yeah, and then we arrive at, and if all else fails, write a memoir or a guide. You can make it work one way or another.
Yeah.
So this is kind of leaning into the idea that breaking this fourth wall. The author speaking about the work that you're reading to the reader.
Exactly.
So, really leaning into that same idea that we did with Rachel's Guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do people really share Google calendars?
I imagine yes. I think Kim and I had a shared calendar at one point, but we never put anything on there.
Oh, wow. I can't imagine that.
No?
No.
Wow.
A shared Google calendar?
Yeah.
No.
Just to like know what, I mean, it makes sense. We just don't use it.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. I just like don't want to know,
Oh.
Just because I'm so...
Go into that.
I'm stressed keeping up with my own calendar.
Oh.
I don't want to have to look at somebody else's shit too, you know?
Yeah, you could toggle it off. You could toggle their stuff off.
But also, I don't want people to keep tabs on me. I don't want
There
anybody keeping tabs on me. Yeah, like that's a bit much for me.
Rachel's a loose cannon.
I want to be able to just like go off the rails and claim that it was part of my plan all along.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
In text guide, thruples do not work.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting because option 1 is to be in a thruple.
Mm-hmm.
And here we're being told they don't work.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well,
why?
But that's something from the suicide guide too. It's like, oh, you could do this, but you're probably gonna fuck it up. You know, like it's not gonna work. But
well, and this isn't even like claiming that the readers aren't, I guess, smart enough or capable enough to make this work. It's just saying definitively they don't work. Regardless, it's not that they don't work for you. They work for me because I'm, super intelligent or whatever. But for you, they won't work. It just says thruples do not work. Our option for success in life is be in a thruple. Yeah. And here it is: thruples don't work. Yeah. I do not know what to do with this contradiction. Like, really? Yeah. But it
makes sense to me.
It makes sense in the satire that we're reading.
Yes, the satire.
But at the same time, like it introduces a level of contradiction that it's hard for me to reconcile. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Yeah. As a satire, I love it.
Yeah. For some reason, it just to me is perfectly satirical.
Yeah.
It is like, do this. It's not going to work. Do it. I don't know.
For a guide to success in life, you're right. Yeah. It does make sense. It's just such a contradiction to where we began that it was hard for me. I was like, what? What?
But do thruples work?
Historically and famously, no.
Right. Yeah. Right. They might work for a short time, but I don't think that they're a long-term thing.
Right. Yeah. They seem to have an expiration date from the moment that they begin.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
And lastly, we get the teaser for option 2, steal from work.
Yes. Matt,
What?
does that hit home for you?
No. Yes? No.
I don't think I've done this. Well, I've looted work before. I guess you could consider that stealing.
That's worse, I think.
It's after the great collapse of whatever. The great Starbucks collapse.
Oh, when the roof caved in?
Yes.
And we just went in and raided.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we ended up with some shot glasses.
Oh, yeah. We got some shot glasses. I got cases of biscotti.
Yeah.
So if you count that, yes. But they were going to throw everything away anyway.
Yeah.
So.
The roof literally collapsed.
Literally, yeah.
So we're going to raid the storeroom. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Weren't we getting rid of 5-pound bags of coffee at that time?
Probably.
I felt like I ended up with a 5-pound bag of espresso or something.
We got a lot of shit.
A lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was nice.
Yeah.
Good times.
We looted the corpse of a Starbucks.
We did. We picked its carcass over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what else you got for Walker?
I loved this. This was just very, very entertaining.
Very entertaining. Yeah. And very cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was beautiful.
Well, thank you, Walker.
Thank you, Walker.
And up next, we have It's the Process by Steve Livingroom.
Yes, I'd like to start us out. I'd like to share that I think that I have mentioned this on this podcast before, but this reminded me of the way that my aunt paints and the way that she taught me to paint in a way that I'd never conceptualized before, because I'm not an artist. But anytime that I would think, oh, I'm going to paint a picture of a bird or something, it would always look like shit. But she's like, oh no, we're not trying to paint anything in particular. You're just connecting to the canvas and applying colors and working with the colors. And then if it doesn't look good, then that's fine. Just paint over it, and it adds more layers and depth to your painting. And I had never, ever, ever thought of that before. So it ended up that I painted things that I really like now because of that process.
Yeah.
And she always says it's about the process, not the result. So this is what this reminded me of. Yeah.
And I come from a different side. I'm visual art. I am the art itself is not lost on me, but I am completely incapable of creating anything visual art.
Yeah.
But from the music standpoint, there are kind of two schools. You can kind of divide music into two schools of process music and programmatic music.
Okay.
Programmatic music is meant to tell a story, and process music is meant to just make music. The artistry is in just the making of it.
To express.
Yeah. And there is a song, and for the life of me, I cannot remember who composed it, and it's really difficult to Google because the title of the song is In C, like the letter C. And it's just little clips, written out, and it's just labeled 1, 2, 3 different little clips. And every performer is given the same music. And you all start on clip number 1, and it can be any instrumentation, whatever instruments. And you start out on the same clip, and whenever you're ready, go to the next one.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel like it. Doesn't matter.
Cool.
And so, but they're all meant to kind of sync up and link with each other. And so it's simultaneously polyrhythmic as well as being just literal process music. It's all about just the process of making the music. That Dawn of MIDI track that we had not too long ago.
Yeah.
That is process music. It is music for the sake of making the music. It's not trying to tell a story of any
Cool.
kind. It's just the act of making it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing it.
It's usually a lot of fun for the people making it.
Yeah.
And less so for the people
listening
to it.
It's like the musician's music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a kind of musical therapy as well, just being able to do process music.
Right.
Very fun. I've only had a few occasions to play music like that.
That sounds awesome. I want to do that. Let's set up a process music sesh.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll track down the sheet music for NC as soon as I can remember who composed the damn thing.
That's awesome. I love that. I wonder if I feel like in a way you could apply that to writing too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because we know when we're writing and it kind of just like the story like just takes us somewhere and we're just like along for the ride and don't know where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
So it's more about the process than the result.
I kind of have a feeling that's isn't that what Jake said when they were writing their story? Like they just it just grabbed them and they just ran with it.
Yep.
And just ran and ran.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So absolutely writing can do that. But inherently writing it is telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
I guess poetry, it's kind of programmatic too, but it's more free form and I don't know. I'm trying to draw a more parallel example to writing.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, or like free writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is laid out entirely in dialogue as a podcast.
Yeah. Very meta.
The how-to podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. So here we are on the podcast discussing the dialogue from How To, a podcast that helps everyday folk figure out how to do things.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we have, I'm going to say Steve is the host and his guest is Denise.
Pretty sure he is.
Yeah.
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 Because he calls her honey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. What did you make of the content of the podcast? Essentially what art therapy is and what it can do for people.
I think it sounds awesome.
I do too.
I would like to do that. I would like for someone to guide me through that process.
Yeah. And I believe that this is a topic that I would actually, I kind of want to dive into some more details about art therapy and different methods of what it can do, because it seems kind of not necessarily low commitment, but low stakes.
Yeah.
It's just a means of being expressive, another way of being expressive, like this podcast, writing, music, whatever it may be, is a form, is a way to be expressive.
Yeah, totally.
And means like a visual art outlet could be fun too. So I was actually very intrigued by what art therapy can offer.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Me too. It makes me want to go start painting actually, and do a session on myself. But I would prefer to have a guide, to be honest. Like Denise, can Denise come out?
Yeah. Does she do house calls?
Yeah. That'd be really, really great because I would love to be guided through the process. Yes.
Yes. This question I actually really liked. What is the biggest thing you want your clients to understand about the art itself? Yeah, that is a good question, which Steve calls out that it is a great question. There are two important things my clients should remember. One is that the act of art is less about the completed product and more about the process, which we were discussing. Actually, doing the art should be fun, cathartic, and enlightening. There is no recruiter looking to get them into art school. It doesn't matter if someone else or even the client thinks that the art piece is dull or boring. The process of doing it is the most important part. The other is empowering people with a creative way to express themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's a very well put way of describing what art therapy can do and what people should expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the emphasis on it doesn't matter what it looks like when you're done, because that's not the point. You know, the point is the process. I love that.
It's to just do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I need that in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and she did share her Instagram, so.
She did. Yes. We have therapeutic_art_coaching on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you looked?
No. Have you?
I haven't either.
I want to, though.
I've been slammed.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. That was inspirational because it makes me want to go do this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially in a guided atmosphere. I do think that would be nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get on out here, Denise.
Okay, and up next we have Notes in Class.
Yes.
By Nick Tew.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to say this opening sentence, the scratching of chalk served to punctuate the drone of our instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So simple, and it immediately puts us exactly where you just drop mentally right into the scene.
Yes.
Just with that one sentence. I think that's a fairly brilliant opening.
Yeah. I like it.
It's I don't know. I love how simple it is, but it is
totally,
unmistakable.
Yeah, totally sets the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment you on very effortlessly dropping us into the scene with that sentence. Very good job.
By the way, I love the prompt.
Yeah?
Yes, like I could listen to that all day. In fact, I was just sitting at my desk listening to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love that sound.
Is it like a ASMR?
Yes, I love it so much.
Were you vibing?
I was vibing.
Total vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is a total vibe.
It's such a vibe. Yeah, I like how the teacher somehow managed to make the story of a horrific massacre by a giant magical fetus dull.
Yes.
That's terrifying.
Well, and what's hilarious is I immediately called up my American history professor. Or not, this is in high school. How in the world was that man able to make the discussion of Oppenheimer and the atom bomb in World War II, how was he able to make it so boring and dull and awful? Everybody's falling asleep during one of the most intense parts of American history.
I think the way that he did that was by not giving a shit about it himself.
Oh, I can tell you exactly how. Because he literally photocopied pages out of the textbook
and read them,
put them on an overhead, like the old overheads, like the transparencies, and then shut off all the lights and read it from there while highlighting like the bulk of the page.
That is horrific.
And this class was at 7 a.m.
What the fuck?
Oh, it was
That's
awful.
Horrible.
That's a horrible, horrible professor.
Like, I feel like, to do something like that, you would have to not be interested in it yourself. You know?
Yeah. I don't, to this day, I don't know. Like, what drove that man to be in that room to teach these kids this topic?
What drove him to make that choice?
Like, I don't get it. It makes zero sense to me. But the rest of the time I was reading this story, that was that teacher that I was picturing.
He's like just highlighting every word as he reads it.
Yeah, and somebody raises their hands like, you missed a spot. It's like, where? Anyways, so yeah, my note on that is like, how is this universal? Like, how is there always that one teacher that is just incapable of making even the most interesting thing sound interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we move into this scene and we have 3 students passing notes. It feels like a throuple, yeah.
It is a throuple.
Yeah.
I love that it is a throuple that's almost seems like an arranged throuple, you know? So the idea of taking the throuple concept and making it like a formal arrangement.
Yeah, almost like standardized.
Yes. Yeah. Is really interesting.
It is, yeah. And something I've never seen before.
No, me neither.
But the idea that, because it's a little bit later, they had like a matchmaker? Yeah. All of us rejected by multiple matchmakers until Alexander's parents had found a more open-minded and eccentric recruit. The old woman was more willing to listen to unruly children such as us. Yeah, so I just thought that's really when it clued in. It's like, oh, okay. Well, it's not necessarily standard. It is acceptable.
Yeah.
And even in this case, it seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know until reading the notes at the end that Onyx was the point of view character.
Yeah, it did take a while to land on who the point of view. Mine was more through process of elimination because our point of view character took something or passed something to Alexander, and then not simultaneously, but at another time passed or took something from Solvet.
Mm-hmm.
And so the third name must be our point of view character and Onyx. Yeah.
I did not land on that. I was like, Corey has a crush on Onyx. That's when the name Onyx first came up, right?
Yes.
And I'm just like, okay, well, I didn't know for sure that was referring to one of the people in the throuple. You know, maybe it's someone else that they're concerned about for some reason unbeknownst to me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is kind of a hard line to walk.
Mm-hmm.
When to drop the name of your point of view character
Mm-hmm.
and how.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like one way you could have done it is you've got an instructor at the front of the room
Mm-hmm.
and say Onyx, and then our point of view
Yeah.
character looks up and says yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could be a means of calling out the name of
Mm-hmm.
our point of view character. And maybe there's a way to work in the gender. I noticed you had a comment, Nick Chu, that you didn't make it clear or noted, I guess really anywhere, that Onyx is male.
Mm-hmm.
Which frankly, it didn't really matter.
Yeah. It didn't really seem that important to me.
Yeah.
Whether Onyx was male or female, it was like Onyx was not as into girls as the other Alexander. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know, what's standard in this world. You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it didn't feel terribly important that we know that. So
I concur.
Even delaying that information to maybe a later point makes sense, especially whenever you're discussing thruples. The gender is really not terribly important.
You know what would be really cool for a prompt? Would be having a love story where none of the genders are revealed.
Interesting.
At all.
Yeah, you have to use some very unique names that don't give away the gender.
Well, there's so many names like that, though.
Yeah.
You know? Or even just make up names, you know? But where there's no mention of like masculinity or femininity in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be so cool.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this actually kind of harked back to our love prompt before, like, write a love story. And the way this is written out as a throuple, like a success story for a throuple, it kind of seems like this is really actually working. Like they all
exactly.
kind of jive with one another.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
And Alexander has some way with his words that's I'm going to assume that they are highborn. I don't remember if we actually get that explicitly, that information, but just the way that Alexander speaks. Let us go matching hand in hand so all might behold the evident might, glory, and mystique of our joining. He wrote, mouthing the words, barely contained excitement. All while the instructor listed dates.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That's a great line.
And well, evidently, Onyx is attracted to Alexander.
Yeah.
So there might even be some seeds of discord there because he seems a bit annoyed by the girl.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Solvet.
Yes, annoyed by Solvet, and maybe might be like bothered by the fact that Alexander is so into Solvet, because he's into Alexander.
You're all disappointing equally.
Yeah. Everybody's disappointing each other.
Back to it
perfectly equally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really do like this because I'm just rooting for all three of them.
Yeah, same. And hey, I would love to see it work, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe they sometimes are like getting what they need from one or the other,
Yeah. And I really liked this line. I had no idea if that was her idea of flirting or if it was some form of psychological warfare. And my note was, odd how similar those can be.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Flirting is like a subsection of psychological warfare.
Yeah. Because it is it is a little antagonistic. Like you have to kind of get past somebody's defenses.
It's like a duel.
Yeah.
It's like a duel. You have to do the touche. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The touche
You got to
thing.
take the glove off and slap.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I really liked the way you called that out.
Mhm.
Flirting or psychological warfare.
Yes.
It's very nice.
Very nice.
But yeah, basically, I can really get behind this version of a love story. I love how
Same.
complex it is.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's not, so many love stories are just like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just like, it's a totally different spin.
Yeah. And I think this is a story that could work really interesting from multiple points of view.
Mm-hmm.
So from Onyx, then from Solvet, then from Alexander, then from the instructor.
Yeah.
I just feel like this would be a really fun way to play with perspective.
Oh, no, that's a really good idea. I love that idea. Like have each installment from a different point of view character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're all very unique. And that's one thing I wanted to compliment you on is each of these characters is coming through very nicely. The one character that actually kind of falls into the background is Onyx, who is our point of view character.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like we get so much characterization of Solvet and Alexander, even the instructor.
Yep.
We do get reactions from Onyx as far as like rolled my eyes or looked concerned or things like that. But largely, Onyx is still kind of a mystery, despite being our point of view character. And I think that could be really fun moving forward.
Yeah.
Because the point of view that you're in will more inform you of the other characters.
Right.
And not so much the point of view that you're in.
Exactly.
I think that's a really fun idea.
And it is, but honestly, to me, it seems more natural.
Yeah, it really does.
Because whenever stories are like the point of view character is doing all this like thinking about like backstories and all this stuff, it's like not really realistic.
Yeah.
But whenever they're just like observing the behavior of others, that's more realistic.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're still getting information about the point of view, but it's all, it feels subtle and natural. Like what we mentioned about, was that her idea of flirting?
Yeah.
Like the difference between flirting and psychological warfare, that's still informing us about the point of view of Onyx.
Right.
Which is all, but it all plays out so naturally that I think this is a brilliant story. I think you've done a really excellent job describing this scene, these characters, and their relationship with one another in such a short amount of time that it really could grow from here.
Totally.
Yeah, I really like this one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. To you.
Thank you, Nick. That was great. Okay, so I think it's now time to move on to Tempus Edax Rerum by Richie Posner.
Hey, Richie.
Hey, Richie.
There's a lot here.
There is. I love the Latin, Richie.
Yeah,
I love that.
I knew you would.
That makes me so happy.
So happy.
Yeah.
You're so happy.
Happy.
So yeah, I did read all of this, Richie, and it's
I did too.
Similar to Jake's, captivating.
Yeah,
gripping, and not at. I was gonna say not at all where I thought it was gonna go, but I did kind of suspect some sort of eldritch horror. Just the way that we, especially whenever we start learning more about what he's writing, and that we start, it's more like symbolic and symbology and like all this Latin around it.
Yeah.
And it felt less scientific and then more like mythological at that point. And I was like, okay, this is going to spiral fast, isn't it? Yeah. It felt like almost like satanic. It's kind of the vibes that I was getting from it. Yeah.
It's very very Exorcist. It's giving Exorcist. It's giving, priests. It's giving.
It made me think like Pan's Labyrinth. Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Yes.
The part whenever she's using the chalk to draw the door.
Oh yeah.
Into the wall that just appears and she's able to open it. There was that kind of like magic.
Yeah.
That I was getting from it, and aided by the fact that he's writing on a chalkboard. That's probably why it called it up to me. But it's kind of that sort of magical doorway vibe, and that's what. Whenever we start learning what he's writing on the chalkboard, that's what called up, and I was like, "Oh, that didn't end well. This is going to end bad." So
yeah, isn't it funny how we always think of like demons as speaking Latin?
Why is that?
It's because of exorcists are from the Catholic Church
Oh.
and they do stuff in Latin.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
I just adored the picture painted of the area where they are.
Yes.
It reminded me very much of Sherlock Holmes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, like the setting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
the setting.
yeah.
It reminded me of the house.
Yeah.
And I just, I felt like I was there.
Yes.
Honestly, the setting description was so good and painted such a picture that I was vibing.
Yes.
I was feeling it. I was like, yes, I'm here with it's cold and the wood in the fireplace and the tea and just everything. I loved it.
Yes. And further to that point, I highlighted this. Jasper had begun writing again. The smudges of chalk where he touched his face during bouts of deep thought began to collect the corner of his nose and resemble sea foam left on the beach at dawn after the tide went out.
Mm-hmm.
What descriptive work, man. And what visual, like mental visual acuity that you have to realize that this guy's holding chalk, and when people think they touch their face and that chalk would be left behind, just that attention to detail, man. What wonderful job.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful descriptive work. And that really just carries throughout.
Right.
There's just the amount of description that we get for this scene is
I love the part where it's like
lovely.
the space heater thrummed behind the clatter of chalk. I love that, just that word for the chalk, the clatter of chalk. That's so good. And just the mahogany floors. I'm obsessed with it.
It's a mixture of senses too. So we get the visual, we get the auditory, we get the and the having the heater
and the smell of the coffee.
Yes, it's such a sensory scene that we get, that you really do begin to inhabit this space with these people.
I was inhabiting the space, that's for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And this is all to set up the turn that we get near the end. And I believe it's doing so much work to get us nice and comfortable here before it thrusts this horrible
shit goes to hell
thing into the room. But it's just going to such lengths to make it all feel very, very cozy, very comfortable, making tea, drinking coffee.
I was so glad that when it's like Ben swept the matches into the fireplace shovel and dumped them, I was just like subconsciously cringing about the waste of all those matches. Then it was like dumped them back into the box. I was like,
oh, thank God. I thought he was going to dump them into the fire, and I was like,
don't do it.
Just
exactly. I'm so glad that he did not throw those matches away. The cracks, the flames, the split wood, just the whole thing. This is the strength of this story, I think, is the extremely descriptive language.
I agree entirely.
The detail,
and the devil is in the details, and I believe the devil came out to play in those details.
That's right.
Like you really did. I cannot compliment you enough about your detail work here. This is such a picturesque scene, and picturesque isn't even doing it a disservice, because as we mentioned, there's so many senses that you're working with here.
Yeah.
And it all within this, you're telling us this backstory with Jenny and the parents. Is that right?
Yeah.
And this tragedy, that this accident that happened, and just how just how captured Jasper is by this memory. And he's just going to all these lengths to explain it, to try and bring them back.
Yeah.
And it's just, he really sounds like a very intelligent person, and he sounds like he's crazy at the same time.
Yeah.
But you can understand why he would be this way.
Right.
Just because of this tragic accident.
Yeah. Very troubled.
Yes,
I
very
would say.
Troubled. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like depressing. I don't know. That just like to me, the thought of like trying to bring back the past is just so like dark, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like that's part of the story, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In my dream, I finished this board and a portal opened up to that day.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny hugged me and asked me to save her, save Dad.
Mm-hmm.
We could get Mom help too. And then he goes on to qualify, I know it's stupid, but I can't stop thinking about it. The portal was the same color as the sky when it happened. Like, it's like, we're, again, so much detail
Mm-hmm.
about all of this, and even like the color of the sky and everything, all while this story is being laid out in such a natural dialogue between
Mm-hmm.
these two brothers.
Yeah.
Just I love I know it's stupid, but I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's just that qualification that he offers. Like, I know this is stupid. And
Right.
in our heads as readers, we're thinking like, yeah, that's not how that works. Like,
Yeah.
but again, because we're in a story, maybe that is how it works.
Right.
And so we start to even ourselves question like what we know or don't know because we're in a completely different world here.
Yeah.
And just the descriptive work that you put into this and how cozy you make it feel, it's easy for us to be in that same headspace that they are.
Right.
That's what I kept coming back to is like, I understand both of these people. This makes sense that they would think this way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely well done.
I feel a innate belief, whereas some may feel an innate belief that thruples don't work. I feel an innate belief that bringing people back from the dead does not work. It's just not a good idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You're going to be like in Game of Thrones, you know, where Khaleesi brought, what was his name? Khal Drogo. Yeah, back. And he was this weirdo zombie.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
That's just going to happen.
I believe Harry Potter even touched on that a little bit.
Yeah. Let it go. Let it go.
Let them go.
Let them go. Let them go.
Yeah.
And this is just confirming it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the story really just hammers that point home. And that this was basically a trap.
Right.
More or less to get this portal open and for this we arrive here. The tentacle reached across the room and wrapped its way around Jasper from his knees to his shoulders and squeezed him tightly against the young woman.
Ooh.
She squealed in delight and turned her head toward the ceiling as the two of them were ripped from the room and the portal snapped and disappeared.
The part about her squealing in delight is creepy as fuck.
It's so creepy.
So creepy.
Yeah. And I love the way that Ben tries to talk Jasper away. Yeah, Jasper, come on, listen to me, man. That's not Jenny. Jenny was 9 when the grill exploded. 9. Like, he's doing everything. I don't know who that is, but you need to leave there and walk over to me right now.
Yeah.
Like, all of this dialogue is so natural.
Right.
And so believable.
Yeah.
It feels like you're speaking this dialogue out as you're writing it. Like, you're making sure that it feels and flows in a natural way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent work. Excellent work. And then we end here. Tempus fugit. Time, please.
Yes. Tempus, actually, it's tempus fugit.
Fugit?
Yes. Oh. Tempus neminem manet, vigilate et orate. Yes.
Yeah. I actually, whenever we came across it in text, the vigilate et orate, like, I actually kind of was like, that's like, be vigilant and speak.
Close, but actually it would be vigilate because there's no V in Latin.
Vigilate.
It's a W. Vigilate. Yeah. It's like Weni Widi Wichi. Actually, yeah. Yay Latin.
Yay Latin.
I like that Latin and that call out to the ancient Greek too.
So the only Latin that we do not get a definition for at the end is the title.
Oh yeah.
Tempus.
And that means, you know what that means?
Rerum. I don't.
It means, well, the way that I read it at first was time eats things.
Okay.
But it's like time consumes all, everything.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't say that for all, personally. I would say omnium, but whatever. Time consumes things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah, I was curious what the significance to the title was, but now that I know that,
Yeah.
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 So, do we have some sort of temporal tentacled monster reaching in to consume?
Could be. I found it interesting that there's 2 stories with tentacles. If you think of that thing from the Blob as a tentacle.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's 2 stories with something like a fetus. Was that one of our words?
Embryo.
Oh.
So, yeah.
But there was the fetus in the thruple story. And then there's the entity, which looks like a fetus.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I can understand why you felt compelled to get this out.
Yeah.
Because especially if you had all these details just rattling around, I would, yeah. That's a point whenever it's like, okay, I gotta write this.
Yeah.
I gotta write this. I gotta write this before it all
totally.
goes away.
I have to be honest though, like the very last sentence where it's like Ben screamed and passed out, that was kind of a humorous visual for me.
Yeah, I can follow
it
that.
Almost seemed like cartoonish. yeah, exactly. It sounds like a
fainting goat.
Yeah, like just being like and then passing out. I don't know why that just like was humorous for me. He screamed and passed out. If it was just like Ben turned cold and lost consciousness or something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially as a last line, like that's where you're leaving us. I'll admit that as far as all the descriptive work that came before it, that one felt a little off.
Yeah, I'm like, what has been like a cartoon woman or something?
The cold winter air began to reclaim its throne. That's nice.
I like
that. Yeah.
I loved that. And that took me right back into the setting. I was over there like kind of giggling about Ben screaming and passing out.
Yeah.
But then whenever I read the rest of that sentence, I was like right back in that library with like I could like kind of see my breath, smell the mahogany.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to capture a scene, Richie. Yeah. Way to do it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just picturing Ben screaming.
I know. I just keep thinking about that.
Passes out.
I just hear like a girl scream for some reason.
Or like a goat scream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I wish I could do. If I could impersonate a goat screaming, I would do it every day.
Yeah.
You could not stop me.
Okay. Oh my God. Don't learn it. Don't learn how to do it.
I'm going to practice.
No.
I'm going to practice. Well, thank you, Richie.
Thank you, Richie. That was fantastic.
A delightful, very descriptive entry.
It was a delight.
I enjoyed that very much. Very, very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that is all of our stories.
Each and every one
for this week.
Amazing.
So shout outs to Jake for being selected here today, as well as Walker by Faith, Steve Living Room, Nick to you, and of course, Richie Posier. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And that moves us into... What do you think it moves us into?
39?
Episode 41.
Oh, shit.
You're 2 behind.
I was
39?
I'm sorry.
Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
41.
Episode 41. Would you like to inform?
I would. So the prompt is, and I actually thought of this prompt before I even read the stories, but it's dialogue only.
Yes.
And like dialogue only.
Like no tags, no dialogue tags. Like so-and-so said.
I think you could have dialogue tags, but nothing apart from that. Everything else has to be dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, dialogue tags are fine, just so that we're not like completely lost, but no thing that does not have quotes in it. But I want to point out that I would like for it to be natural conversation.
Yeah. I think a great example is the dialogue between the two brothers in Richie's story.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there is a substantial amount of narration that got us to that point.
Yeah.
But the way that they speak back and forth to each other feels very natural.
Yeah, totally.
And similarly, Steve's story,
Mm-hmm.
that I would not consider that a dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider that's more like an interview.
It is an interview.
Yeah, it's less a conversation and more an interview. And take that to another extreme, it could go on to an interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much a dialogue in that. But it is
more naturally
all
occurring,
spoken.
Yeah, because that is all. It is all speaking. It's just like arranged. It's like prearranged.
Yeah.
You know, like interview questions or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, like a naturally occurring dialogue, and I challenge everybody to show the setting through the dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
See if you can show and not by somebody just being like, so we're in a room that looks like this and this, but like through natural dialogue, see if you can make the setting evident.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a ton of creative ways to do just that. Yeah.
Lots of ways.
Yeah. But the dialogue and just the way people speak, I think, is so telling. It's so important too in getting your point across.
Yep.
But I do think that the dialogue can often make or break a story. So let's use this opportunity to see what it can do for you and your characters.
And what you can do for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ask not what your dialoog can do for you,
but what you can do for your dialogue. Yes, as they say.
As they
have
say
said
that. They have said that.
before.
Okay, so the words to accompany this are pierce, creation, abnormal, posture, and aquarium.
Oh.
That's some nice words.
These are very good words.
Yeah.
I like these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pierce.
Pierce is a verb.
It is?
It's just a verb.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a verb because as a noun it would be piercing. You know, although interestingly, piercing can also be like, you know, the participle form of the verb. But pierce is like to make a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puncture is kind
puncture.
of yeah.
And it can be either literal or figurative. Like it pierced my heart, you know?
Yeah. Or pierced my ears.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that reminds me of the time that I pierced that little girl's ears in Mongolia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. With a porcupine quill.
Yeah. I recall that.
Because surprisingly, her grandma wasn't able to do it. And I was like, whoa, don't you do this like all the time? She's
Apparently not.
fucking it up.
Yeah,
so I was like, here, grandma, give me that fucking quill. I'm going to pierce your grandbaby's earlobes. And I did. Yeah.
And you did.
And I did.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot better than she was doing it. Damn. Ugh. Anyway, pierce. Pierce. The light can pierce your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Pierce.
You can have a piercing sound.
Yeah. Yeah. The sound. But using it as pierce. Yeah. I mean, if we can go into the participle piercing, then yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah. Piercing sound, piercing
but it
light.
would be funny to say, the sound pierced my ears.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't quite work the same.
Well, because it's like by piercing your ears, do you mean like it hurt your eardrums or like it?
Like because
gave you
people
earrings?
have ear piercings. Yeah. The sound gave you. So the sound was so loud, and then I looked in the mirror and I had these little hoops in my ears. Yeah.
Funny.
And our next word is creation.
Creation. So creation is a noun. It is also an adjectival noun.
Creation
Welcome to the creation station. This is the creation. This is the creation station where all things creation happen.
Next to, what was it? The embryo station.
Exactly. Actually, the embryo station is inside the creation station.
Okay.
Right.
Stations within stations.
Right.
Got it.
Exactly.
All right.
Creation. Okay, so this is from Latin. And creo literally just means to create. I mean, it means I create.
Yeah.
So this is like kind of an obvious one.
to make.
To make.
It's one of those very fundamental things.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Creationism is a
okay.
thing. Yeah,
Creationism, and that's where you believe in creation.
correct.
You believe in intelligent design.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
quite.
Creation, is a thing that happens every day. Every day.
We are creating a podcast.
We are
at the moment.
as we speak.
We are creating an episode for a podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
This is our creation.
Yes.
This is our creation station.
It is. Welcome.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, creation. I mean, what else can we really say about that?
It's, again, so fundamental, and I would argue that anything man-made is created, no? Like, all things man-made are created.
Not just man-made. Animals can create things.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
nature, the wind
everywhere.
can create, rivers created the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's anything, I would put it in the passive. I would say it's anything that is made. Well, actually, man-made is the passive, but it's anything that is made, is created.
Yeah. Yeah, to create, to make.
Right.
Synonymous, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next word
Mm-hmm.
is abnormal.
Abnormal.
Abby normal.
Abby normal.
Do you get that reference?
Yes.
Oh. Makes me so happy.
Yes. So this is not normal. Ab actually is a Latin prefix, and it means something like outside of.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Away from.
Away from.
Mm-hmm.
Against.
No.
Outside of. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So not normal, but then you got to ask yourself, well, then what is normal?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm sure I don't know what's normal.
Right. I mean, who does know?
Not this guy.
No, not this guy either.
Would you say thruples are abnormal?
Okay. So if we're talking about the norm as being the thing that most people do,
societal norms. Yeah.
then yes, I would say it's abnormal. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different forms of norms.
Right.
Norm
forms of norms.
Norm forms.
Okay. Norm forms at the normal station.
God. She cackles.
Yes, thruples are abnormal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Societally
Right.
abnormal.
Yeah. I mean, where are they normal? Do we have to qualify that with the word societally?
I would say they are normal amongst people in thruples.
Okay. Touche. Yeah. Can't argue with that. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and abnormal is, it's an adjective.
Yes.
You're trying to think it was an adjectival noun, aren't you?
I was.
I think it would have to be abnormality.
Welcome to the abnormal station. Yeah, abnormality station. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You've infected my brain. Now I have to think of all of them.
Now I've expanded your brain. Now you know.
It feels like adjectival nouns are like that gooey flesh monster covered in hair. It's just like, I can't.
Suckles.
I can't stop. It won't stop.
Ew, sick. I hate that it was suckling softly. Disgusting.
Blah.
I hope it doesn't come to me in my dream again tonight.
Yeah. No. No. And our next word, posture. Posture.
Posture, well, this refers to standing up straight.
Or sitting up straight.
Or sitting up straight. Being straight.
Actually, I don't even know that it's necessarily referring to good posture.
True.
It's just
True.
the state of your
line.
Physical presence.
Your physical line.
Yeah. Actually,
Your
you can have
spine.
hunched posture.
True.
You can have
Bad posture, good posture.
squared shoulders.
Uh-huh.
Like other shoulders.
Yeah, other types. Slumped.
Slumped shoulders.
Shoulders.
Yeah.
Posture.
Craning your neck.
Yeah. And that's the physical meaning of posture. Of course, oh, and it can also be a verb.
Yeah, you
Posturing.
posture. Yeah.
Yeah, posture something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like to posit something.
Posit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Posturing. I feel like posturing is like being like kind of like pretentious or something. Any behavior or speech aimed at impressing or misleading others.
Oh.
Posturing is also used medically to refer to posture.
Of course.
What does it mean when a person is posturing? When someone is posturing, it means they are engaging behavior or speech that is intended to impress others or create a false appearance. It can be artificial, hypocritical, or calculated to mislead. So, posturing, yes, behavior that is intended to impress or mislead. A masking of fear with macho posturing.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like someone that's like bowing up, like posturing.
Yeah. But you know, I don't know that I've heard it in a non-participle form, in a non-gerund form.
Okay.
Like stop posturing. He's posturing.
Yeah.
Like it's either a participle or a gerund. I've never heard it in just like
posture.
Don't you posture at me? You know? Like I've never heard that.
Don't you posture at me.
Don't you posture. Don't you posture at me.
I only ever think of posture as like your physical posture.
Right. Yeah. But now that we're saying it, posture. I feel like it's not really a word anymore.
Posture.
And I want to spell it like POSCHER.
Posture.
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 Posture. Posture.
Pasture.
Pasture.
Posture.
Posture.
It means nothing now.
Pasture, posture, pesture, peasture, posture.
And our final word, aquarium.
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 Okay. Well, an aquarium is a place where fish live, I think.
In captivity, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Usually made of glass, filled with water and other little trinket doodad tchotchkes and stuff in there.
Tchotchkes, yep. It does have to have water for it to be an aquarium because the aqua comes from.
Correct, yeah. Otherwise it would be a terrarium.
Right. Which is where my snake usually resides, although right now he's romping.
Oh. Romping about.
He's romping about in the library and also in the closet of the library.
He likes that closet?
Oh, yes. I didn't mean to let him in there, but now he's there and can't get him out. So that's where he lives now. Yeah.
So yeah, aquarium.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of aquariums. Aquariums.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, okay. I do not.
All right.
Not even a little bit.
It's a thing.
Okay. And and there's also big aquariums that you can go visit, like zoos.
Oh, yeah.
Like aquatic zoos.
Right. Yeah.
Aquariums are dope. I love aquariums.
They're fun.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And our words again: pierce, creation, abnormal, posture, and aquarium.
Yes.
And if you want to be like these wonderful writers and submit your story to You Write, head on over to our subreddit at reddit.com/r/YouWritePod.
If you're unable to submit a story this week, that's fine. You can help out by reading and commenting on other people's stories.
Each time you post a story or leave a comment on someone else's submission, you increase your chances of having your story read on the podcast.
You can also reach us at YOUWRITPOD@gmail.com.
We're back to that, are we?
We are.
Okay.
We're back. We're here.
Well, if you like our show and want to help support us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/YOUWRITE.
Excellent. If you are unable to donate, that's fine. You can still help us by sharing the podcast with other writers and non-writers alike.
If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you know as soon as new episodes are available.
Subscribe.
Also,
be sure to leave us a rating and a review in your podcatcher of choice.
And remember, join us next week on You Write,
a podcast where you write. This is the dawning of the age of Aquariums, age of aquariums. Do you like the intense eye contact I'm making right now? Aquariums.
It's very upsetting.
Aquariums.